In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. He spoke the light and darkness into being. He divided the waters, raised the dry land, and filled it with plants, trees, and flowers. He placed lights in the sky, the sun for the day and the moon and stars for the night. Then he created creatures to live on the land, in the air, and in the sea. God saw his work and saw that it was good. So God decided to create man in his own image and likeness. He formed Adam from the dust of the earth and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. Adam woke up in a wonderful garden called Eden, where all the plants and trees bore abundant fruit. Eden was a place of peace and prosperity, a paradise where everything was in harmony. Seeing that Adam was alone, God decided to give him a companion. While Adam was fast asleep, God took one of his ribs and from it formed Eve, the first woman. When Adam awoke, he was filled with joy when he saw Eve beside him. The two lived in perfect harmony, caring for Eden and enjoying its fruits and each other's company. They were free to enjoy everything except a single tree in the center of the garden. In the middle of the garden were two special trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God allowed them to eat from all the trees except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. In the day that you eat from it you will surely die, he warned them. Adam and Eve accepted the warning, and although they were curious, they trusted in God's goodness. Life in Eden was perfect, without pain or evil, full of peace. However, a crafty serpent also lived in the garden, and he was more crafty than any other animal. One day, the serpent came to Eve and asked, "Is it true that God forbade you to eat from any tree in the garden?" Eve replied that she could eat from all the trees except the tree in the center of Eden. "If we touch it or eat from it, we will die," she said, remembering God's warning. But the serpent sowed temptation. The serpent told Eve that they would not die if they ate the fruit, but that they would become like God, knowing good and evil. The promise of wisdom and power aroused in Eve an intense curiosity and desire. Eve looked at the tree and saw that its fruit was beautiful and appetizing, and the temptation became irresistible. With a mixture of fear and longing, she took the fruit and ate it. Then she shared the fruit with Adam, who also ate. As soon as they ate the fruit, their eyes were opened, and they realized that they were naked. For the first time, they felt ashamed and hurried to cover themselves with fig leaves. They no longer felt free or happy, there was a weight on their hearts that they did not understand. They heard the voice of God walking through the garden, and, filled with fear, they hid among the trees. The peace of Eden had been broken by disobedience. God called out to Adam, "Where are you?" Trembling, Adam came out of hiding and confessed that he was afraid because he was naked. God asked him if he had eaten from the forbidden tree, and Adam admitted his mistake but blamed Eve. Eve, in turn, pointed to the serpent, saying that it had deceived her. God listened to her words, but their hearts were no longer the same, and the goodness of Eden seemed far away. God looked at the serpent and told him that for his deceit he would be cursed, crawling on his belly and at enmity with mankind. Then he spoke to Eve, telling her that she would suffer pain in childbirth, and that her desire would be directed toward her husband. To Adam he said that the earth would be hard and arid, and that he would work hard on it to obtain food by the sweat of his brow. So God clothed them in robes of skin to cover their nakedness, in an act of mercy and protection. Even though they had disobeyed, God still loved and cared for them. However, their disobedience had consequences, and they could not stay in Eden. Sin had entered their hearts and the world, and Eden would no longer be their home. Innocence had been replaced. The land outside Eden was unfamiliar and hostile, and they knew they would face hardship. The perfect life in paradise was over, and now they faced an existence marked by toil and labor. Eden lay behind them, guarded by cherubim and a flaming sword that guarded the way to the tree of life. In sadness and regret, Adam and Eve walked away, carrying with them the memory of lost peace. Thus began their life outside paradise, in a world that would teach them the value of hope.